Good day everyone, or should I say, a blessed and wonderful morning, our dear learners. Every day is such a great blessing from Almighty God. Therefore, we must be thankful in it and use it meaningfully. Before anything else, let us introduce first ourselves. I am Jade C. Kumaram, and my group mates are Robert Anthony de Chavez and Juan Carlos de Villa. And we are third year college students currently taking Bachelor of Physical Education. At the same time, we are the first group reporters in our subject RES 101 Research 1. We are dedicated to encourage students' minds to think, hands to create, and hearts to love. And of course, we'll be your instructors at this moment. Now, we shouldn't prolong it any longer. Therefore, let's proceed to the lesson proper. Everyone, our topic for today is all about an introduction to research. Do you have any idea about it? If there's no, just keep calm, focus, and listen attentively in our class all throughout the discussion. Moving forward, I'm assigned to discuss the definition of research, research as an integral part of your practice, and the applications of research. Now here we go. Let us focus first on the meaning of research. In here, research is defined as the creation of new knowledge and or the use of existing knowledge in a new and creative way so as to generate new concepts, methodologies, and understandings. This could include synthesis, analysis of previous research to the extent that it leads to new and creative outcomes. It involved the systematic investigation in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. To make it clear, from the word itself, research, meaning to search and search again. It may be defined as a scientific or systematic search for a topic or an area. In fact, research is an art of scientific investigation. As been stated in the presentation, research is the creation of new knowledge and or the use of existing knowledge in a new and creative way so as to generate new concepts, methodologies, and understandings. Meaning to say, in research, we're using the past or existing knowledge in order to create a new concepts, methodologies, or understanding. At the same time, it involves systematic investigation in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. That's the goal of research, to make or discover something new that is undoubtedly meaningful or beneficial. So in the slide, it states that research is a careful consideration of study regarding a particular concern or problem using scientific methods. According to the American sociologist Earl Robert Babby, research is a systematic inquiry to describe, explain, predict, and control the observed phenomena. Research involves inductive and deductive methods. Inductive research methods are used to analyze and observe events. Deductive methods are used to verify the observed event. Inductive approaches are associated with qualitative research, and deductive methods are more commonly associated with quantitative research. So in here, research serves as the way to study a particular concern or problem in a careful manner through the use of scientific method. When we say scientific method, it is a process of objectively establishing facts through testing and experimentation. The basic process involves making an observation, forming a hypothesis, making a prediction, conducting an experiment, and finally, analyzing the results. As been stated, according to the American sociologist Earl Robert Badby, research is a systematic inquiry to describe, explain, predict, and control the observed phenomena. That's the thing that we really believe in due to we are conducting research for a certain purpose that those are to describe, explain, predict, and control the observed phenomena. Research involves inductive and deductive methods. Now, what's the difference between inductive and deductive reasoning? Well, inductive reasoning is a bottom to up approach, while deductive reasoning is top to down. Inductive reasoning takes you from the specific to general, while is in deductive reasoning, you make inferences by going from general premises to specific conclusions. By that, you can easily identify or see the difference between inductive and deductive reasoning. Additionally, inductive research methods are used to analyze an observed event. Deductive methods are used to verify the observed event. Inductive approaches are associated with qualitative research, and deductive methods are more commonly associated with quantitative research. By the way, qualitative research focuses on the quality, while quantitative research focuses on the quantity. Therefore, quantitative studies rely on numerical or measurable data. In contrast, qualitative studies rely on the personal accounts. Again, qualitative studies rely on personal accounts or documents that illustrate in detail how people think or respond within society. Now, let's proceed to another one. Research, an integral part of your practice. Or in Tagalog, pananaliksik, isang mahalagang bahagi ng iyong pagsasanay. There's no doubt that research is valuable and meaningful in our entire living, most especially to our profession or field of work in the present times and up to the future. That's why it states here that research is undertaken within most professions. More than a set of skills, research is a way of thinking, examining critically the various aspects of your day-to-day professional work, understanding and formulating guiding principles that govern a particular procedure, and developing and testing new formulating guiding principles that govern a particular procedure, and developing and testing new theories that contribute to the advancement of your practice and profession. It is the habit of questioning what you do and a systematic examination of clinical observation to explain and find answers for what you perceive with a view to instituting appropriate changes for a more effective professional service. Let us take some discipline examples. Suppose you're working in the field of health. You may be a frontline service provider, supervisor, or health administrator, or planner. You may be in a hospital or working as an outreach community health working. In any of these positions, some of the following questions may come on your minds or someone else may ask you for their answers. Just like, how many patients do you see every day? What are some of most common conditions prevalent among my patients? What are the causes of these conditions? Why do some people have particular conditions whereas others do not? And what are the health needs of the community? You may also can add many questions to the list. At times it may be impossible to ignore these questions because of the level of which you work. Now, those questions are helpful in doing research, and once those questions are answered, then it can be beneficial in order for us to have more understanding and formulate new guiding principles for the betterment of all and contribute to advancement of your practice and profession. Now, as you observe, those questions are related to their practice and professions, and those questions should be in a way that you want to resolve or have an answer in your entire research. No, you're going to find answers on those questions. Now, let's have another example. Let us take another discipline in business studies. Assume you work in the area of marketing. Again, you can work at different levels as a salesperson, sales manager, or sales promotion executive. The list of the questions that may come to mind could be endless. Just like, for example, what is the best strategy to promote of sell a particular product? How many salespersons do you need? What is the effect or particular advertising campaign on the sale of the product? How satisfied are the consumers with this product, and how much are consumers prepared to spend on this product? Imagine those questions are still related on their profession that should be answered in the entire research. No, those questions should be answered in the entire research, and they're going to research and research again and again to find out and to discover more new about it that can help them to build or for the betterment of their field of work or discipline or in the profession of them, not for the betterment and advancement of their field of work or discipline. And let's be mindful that most professions that are in the human service industry would lend themselves to the question raised above, and as your service provider shall be prepared to answer them. Now again, as a service provider, as a researcher, we shall be prepared to answer them. And research is one of the ways to help you answer such questions objectively. Again, remember this line that research is one of the ways to help you answer such questions objectively. That's why research is undoubtedly meaningful and valuable in our entire life for us to answer the questions we really need in our day-to-day living. Now here we go to the last coverage to discuss. Applications of research. When do we say application? It is the act of putting something to use or a use to which something is put. In here, we will talk on the application of research or the usage of research in different manner. In this slide, it states here that very little research in the field is pure in nature. That is, very few people do research in research methodology per se. Most research is applied research, which has wide application in many disciplines. Every profession uses research method in varying amounts in many areas. They use the methods and procedures to develop by research methodologists in order to increase understanding in their own profession and to advance the professional knowledge base. The application of research can be viewed in the following perspective. Now, it is esteemed that most are using research in order to have development and have a deeper understanding, particularly in different profession, and increase the body of knowledge in the field. And the application of research can be viewed in the following perspective or in a table 1. So, see the table. Here's the table. See the table, it seems not clear to you, so that may I ask all of you to please listen on what will I say for you to understand it clearly. As shown in table, it is the application of research. In here, it represents the questions that is suitable to be answered in research in different aspects, like first and for service provider, second for the administrative manager or planner, third the consumer, and the fourth box or last box is for the professional. In that table, in service provider for him or her to know more or apply research, then he or she may ask the following. I will read. Um, to answer in service provider, to answer questions such as how many people are using the service or the product. Why do some people use the service or product? And what when others do not? How effective is the service product? How can be the service or product be improved? Which type of the people can use or do not use the service product? And how satisfied or dissatisfied are the customers or the service product? So those are the questions that will come from the service provider. Those questions are the way in order to find out on what should be improved in their service. And that can be accomplished or can be found out through research. And now, let's proceed to an administrative manager or a planner. To answer the questions, we have such as what are the needs of the community, how many service providers are needed, what are the training needs of the staff, how many cases can a worker handle in a day, how can be effective of each working be evaluated. Now, as you observe, those questions are related to an administrative or manager or a planner. So those are the questions that they need in order to find out on what should be done on, or what should be improved in their service. Now, just like for the consumer, to answer questions such as, I am a consumer getting value for money, how good are the service providers, what are the long-term effects of the product I am using, and where in the evidence. And for the professional, to answer questions such as, which is the most effective intervention for a particular problem, what is the relationship between X and Y, how valid a particular theory in the present condition, and what is the best way of measuring attitudes, and what are the process through which people decide to adapt and program. So in here, in research, there were lots of questions that we may encounter, and those questions are undoubtedly meaningful and beneficial in order to help a researcher to find out the answers on those questions. No, and that's the application of the research. That's the usage of research to discover new answers that is beneficial to them. Again, so the bottom line is research allows you or research allows us to pursue your interest, to learn something new, to hone new problem solving skills, and to challenge yourself in new ways. This time, I'll believe in you, and here's my other groupmate reporters that will add more knowledge or information to you, our dear learners.
Good morning, class. I'm Juan Carlos F. De Villa from Bachelor of Physical Education 3. So, I'm here to discuss the purpose of research, characteristics of research, and types of research. So, we are done discussing the definition of research, research as an integral part of your practice and applications of research. And now, we are going to tackle the purpose of research first. So, what do you think is the purpose of research? So, let me answer that. So, the purpose of research is to enhance the society by advancing knowledge through scientific theories, concepts, and ideas. Research is a process of seeking out answers to a specific problem. It can be conducted for several purposes such as understand a phenomenon, behavior, or test a theory. Research is conducted systematically and it adds to a body of knowledge and support many theories. Okay, so let's proceed to the characteristics of research. So characteristics of research, number 1. A systematic approach must be followed for accurate data. Rules and procedures are an integral part of the process that set an objective. Research need to practice ethics and a code of conduct while making observations or drawing conclusion. So, sabi sa number 1, for accurate data, a methodical process must be used. So, the technique that establishes the target includes rules and procedures as a crucial component. Next is number 2. Research is based on logical reasoning and involves both inductive and deductive methods. So, sabi sa number 2, inductive and deductive reasoning are used in research, which is founded on logic. So, sa number 3, the data or knowledge that is derived is in real time from actual observation and in natural settings. So, the information or knowledge obtained is based on current observation made in natural environments. So, sa number 4, next slide. Okay. Number 4, there's an in-depth analysis of all data collected so that there are no anomalies associated with it. So, nandun na mismo yung kung ano yung dapat niyang sabihin, no? So, sa number 5, research creates a path for generating new questions. Existing data helps create more opportunities for research. So, nandun na din mismo kung ano yung gusto niyang ipakita. So, sa number 6, research is analytical in nature. It makes use of all available data. So, analysis is the key component of research. It utilizes all of the information available to ensure that the inference is clear. So, sa number 7, accuracy is one of the most important aspects of research. The information that is obtained should be accurate and true to its nature. For example, laboratories provide a controlled environment to all data. Accuracy is measured in the instruments used, the collaboration of instruments or tools, and the final results of the experiment. So, sabi nga, one of the most crucial components of research is accuracy. The information gathered must be correct and genuine to its intended purpose. For instance, laboratory offer a regulated setting for data collection. The calibration of tools and instruments as well as the experiment and result are always to gauge accuracy. So, next slide. So, andito na tayo sa types of research. So, ano-ano nga ba ang mga types ng research? So, it can be looked at from the 3 different perspectives. So, number 1, applications of the findings of the research study. Number 2, objectives of the study. Number 3, mode of inquiry used in conducting the study. Okay, so types of research based on application perspective. Pure research is also concerned with the development, examination, verification, and refinement of research methods, procedures, techniques, and tools that form the body of research methodology. For example, so include developing a sampling technique that can be applied to a particular situation, developing a methodology to assess the validity of the procedure, developing an instrument, say, to measure the stress level in people, and finding the best way of measuring people's attitude. So yung examples nga dito, no? So, creating a sample method that can be used in certain circumstances. So, creating methodology to evaluate the reliability of a procedure. Creating an instrument, for instance, to gauge people's levels of stress and determining the most accurate way to control or to maintain the attitudes. Okay, so most of the research in the social science is applied. In other words, the research techniques, procedures, and methods that form the body of research methodology are applied to the collection of information about various aspects of situation, issue, problem, and phenomenon so that the information gathered can be used in other ways such as for policy formulation, administration, and the enhancement of understanding of a phenomenon. So next slide. Doon naman tayo sa types of research based on objectives, perspective. If you examine a research study from the perspective of the objectives, broadly, a research endeavor can be classified as descriptive, correlation, explanatory, and exploratory. So, a research study classified as descriptive study attempts to describe systematically a situation, problem, phenomenon, service, or program, or provides information about, say, the living conditions of community or describes attitude towards an issue. So let me explain that. So yun nga, in general, a research endeavor can be categorized as describing, depending, clarifying, or experimental when looking at it from the standpoint its objectives. So, yung sa descriptive study naman is yun yung gumagawa ng effort to explain a scenario, issue, occurrences, assistance, or activity in a systematic way. It may also provide evidence on such instance that the living circumstances of a community characterize views on a problem. So next slide. Okay. The main emphasis in correlation study is to discover or establish the existence of a relationship, association, interdependence between two or more aspects of situation. So what is the impact of an advertising campaign on the sale of a product? What is the relationship between virality and morality? So what is the relationship between technology and unemployment? What is the effect of the health service on the control of disease or the home environment on educational achievement? These studies examine whether there is no relationship between two or more aspects of the situation or phenomenon and therefore are called correlation study. So these studies, which are additionally referred to as studies of correlation, look at when there is a connection between multiple components of a situation or occurrence. So next slide. Explanatory research attempts to clarify why and how there is a relationship between two aspects of situation or phenomenon. These types of research attempts to explain, for example, why stressful living results in heart attacks, why a decline in mortality is followed by fertility decline, or how the home environments aspect children's level of academic achievements. So ito yung mga example, no? Yung mga explanatory na example, kumbaga dapat merong explanation yung mga bawat tanong or problems na ilalagay mo sa research paper mo. Next slide. So the fourth type of research from the viewpoint of the objectives of study is called exploratory research. So kanina explanatory, ngayon exploratory. So this is when a study is undertaken with the objective either to explore an area where little is known or to investigate the possibilities of undertaking a particular research study. When a study is came out to determine its feasibility is also called as feasibility study or a pilot study. So, maalis dalawa yun kung tinatawag na feasibility or pilot study. It is also or usually carried out when a researcher wants to explore areas undertaken to decide if it's worth carrying out or detailed investigation. So, explanatory studies are also conducted to develop, refine, and or test, measurement, tools, and procedures. Next slide. So, nandito tayo sa types of research, mode of inquiry, perspective. So, the third perspective in our typology of research concerns the process you adapt to find the answer to your research questions. Broadly, there are two approaches to inquiry. Everything that makes up the research process, including the objectives, design, sample, and the questions you intend to ask respondents. So, when using a structured approach, contrarily, the unstructured methods permits flexibility in each of these areas of the process. So, the unstructured approach is typically used to explore a problem, issue, or phenomenon's nature, or more especially variation or diversity. So the structured approach is better suited to determining the extent of problem, issue, or phenomenon. Next slide tayo. Okay, so the structured approach is more appropriate to determine the extent of a problem, issue, or phenomenon, whereas the unstructured approach is predominantly used to explore its nature. So yun nga yung sinabi ko kanina. So yung unstructured approach is typically used to explore a problem, issue, or phenomenon's nature, or more especially variation or diversity first in the phenomenon, issue, problem, or attitude toward an issue. So doon naman sa structured approach, no? If you want to research the different perspective of an issue, the problems experienced by the people living in the community, or the different views people hold towards an issue, then these are better explored using unstructured inquiries. On the other hand, to find out how many people have a particular perspective, how many people have a particular problem, or how many people hold a particular view, you need to have structured approach to inquiry. So bago daw ito ma-undertake, yung structured inquiry is the author's opinion, and unstructured inquiry must be undertaken to ascertain the diversity in a phenomenon, which can then be qualified through the structured inquiry. Both approaches have their place in research, but have their strengths and weakness. So, next slide. The study is classified as quantitative if you want to quantify the variation of phenomenon, situation, problem, or issue. If information is gathered using predominantly quantitative variables, and if the analysis is geared to ascertain the magnitude of the variation. So, for example, examples of quantitative aspects of research study are how many people have the particular problem, how many people held the particular attitude. So, yun, kung ano yung quantitative, dun mo hahanapin kung ilan or kung ano yung bilang ng mga taong hahanapin mo. The last reporter must be Robert Anthony. So, he will discuss the last 3 topics of this lesson. So, thank you.
Good day, everyone. So, before I continue the discussion, let me introduce myself first. So, my name is Robert Anthony G. De Chavez, taking Bachelor of Physical Education 3, and I am one of the reporter for today. So, Sir J.B. Humarang and Sir Juan Carlos de Villa done discussing the definition of research, research as an integral part of your practice, application of research, purpose of research, characteristic of research, and the types of research. So this is the continuation of our discussion, and I will be discussing the classifications of research, qualities of good researcher, motivations to begin or to finish research paper. So stay tuned, listen, and let's start our discussion. So let's move on to the next slide. So let's continue our discussion. So before I discuss the qualities of a good researcher, I apologize or we apologize if we didn't put to our PowerPoint presentation the classification of research due to the reason that we don't see any information to the documents or to the module that we have. But then we gathered information through the help of the internet. So classification of research, we have two types. First is the qualitative methods. And the qualitative methods is a method that collects data using conversational methods, usually open-ended questions. And here we have 5 types. First is one-to-one interview. Second is the focus groups. Third is the ethnographic studies. Fourth is the tax analysis. 5 is the case study. While in the quantitative methods is the methods that using number with measurable forms. And here we have 3 types. First, survey research. Second is the descriptive research. Third is the correlational research. Now, we know the classification of research, which is the qualitative and quantitative methods. Now, we will proceed and we will discuss the qualities of a good researcher. Mapapatanong ka, ano nga ba ang mga qualities o katangian na dapat tinatangi ng isang good researcher? First, determined. Have a firm decision, committed to finish your goal. So if you are a good researcher, dapat yung mindset mo, you have a committed mindset. You have a committed decisions that you need to finish and achieve your goal. Second is patience. Must be able to accept or tolerate delay or suffering without getting mad, anger, upset. So sa madaling salita, you need to have a good or a long pasensya, mahabang patience to create and to do the research. Third is perseverance. Despite the difficulty that you are struggling with, you are persistent to do it. Dapat meron kang pagtsatsaga as a good researcher. You know to be a good researcher and you have a perseverance to continue, even have a lot of challenges and circumstances in doing that. 4, hardworking. So diligent, you work with energy and committed. So hindi ka lang sa una magaling. You need to be hardworking person because you are not just gathering an information, but you are solving a problem not just to your community but also to the surrounds or also to the environment that you have. Then fifth is motivated. You have the inspiration, eagerness, and drive to pursue your work. Your mindset, you should be motivated to continue. You should have inspiration. You should have an eagerness to continue. So let's go to the next slide. So 6, dedicated. You are devoted to your work. You are dedicated to do something. You are dedicated to continue. 7 is focus. You pay attention to what you are doing. It is really important that you have focus on what you are doing in life. If you are a researcher, then you should focus to your studies. And 8, open-minded. You are willing to consider new ideas and accept criticism. You must be open-minded because you need to accept the ideas of the other people to have you to be able you to learn and solve the problems that you have. So 8, knowledgeable. You are well informed. Yes, hindi ka pwedeng mag-research nang hindi ka knowledgeable sa bagay na yon. Hindi mo pwedeng aralin ang bagay na yun nang wala kang alam doon. Then 9, resourceful. You have the ability to find the necessary materials, references for your paper. You need to be resourceful. Hindi ka lang mag-i-stay sa isang bagay na kung saan hindi naman nakakatulong. You should find another materials, you should find another references for you to have a good research, to have a good study. And the last is the optimistic. You are always hopeful and confident that you can make it. Dapat ang mindset mo, I can do it. I will finish it and I will pass it on time. No matter what happened, I will do my best to finish it. So optimistic. So that is the qualities of a good researcher. So now, we will talk the hindrances to research. Ano nga ba mga hadlang in research? Or ano nga ba maaaring maging hadlang in doing a research? So we have 5. So first, time or time management. So we all know that time is important. But in the research, time or time management can be affect in doing a research, because if you don't have right or correct time management, it may affect or it can be an hindrances to research. Second is limited resources. So if you don't have a enough resources, it can be hindrances. Ano, kung limit lang ang resources mo in doing your research, it can be an hindrances. Then third is financial matter or budget. So we all know that in doing a research, we should have or we must have a financial. Ano, we need not just the not a financial stable, but we have a financial matter enough or budget that good enough to our research, because if you don't have budget, it can be an hindrances to research. Ano, you should have a financial matter or budget, or you have a enough financial matter and budget that may help to your research. And fourth is difficulty in choosing or deciding a topic. So it is one of the hindrances, because sometimes we are thinking what is the appropriate topic that we need to study, what is the appropriate problem that we need to solve, and that's why it can be an hindrances to research. Next is the work in school. So nahihirapan tayo to work in school kasi sometimes we are not working, we cannot work, have a lot of noise or have a background noise that cannot help to us to think or to find a resolution to our problem or to our research. So sometimes because of the overload work in school, it can be affect to us as a researcher. It can be an hindrances to us as a researcher. So that is the hindrances to research. First, time or time management. Second, limited resources. Third is financial matter or budget. Fourth is difficulty in choosing or deciding a topic. Five is work in school. So let's move to the next slide. So now we will proceed to the motivations to begin or to finish research paper. So here I will give you some motivations for you to begin for you to finish your research paper. So first, professional growth. So if you we all know that if we finish our research, we all know that it can be help to us to have a professional growth. Sa paglago ng ating profesyon, nakakatulong ang research paper. Lalago ang ating profession as an individual kapag natapos natin ang research natin. Second is to graduate, to earn a degree. Ano, hindi naman pwedeng makatapos tayo or maging degree holder tayo without a research paper. You should graduate, or you should have a research to become a degree holder. And the third is family or parents. Ano, you should be motivated. You must motivated to your family. Your mindset is I need to finish it because I need to pay all the sacrifices of my family and parents. I'm not just doing this for myself, but also I'm doing this for my family and my parents. And fourth is to solve problems, current issues in school and students' community. So that is the purpose of research. Ano, that is the purpose of research, to solve a problems. Ano, you are not just helping yourself to solve a problem, but also you are helping the future researcher. Ano, mas mapapadali ang pagre-research nila if you have a research about that problem. Ano, you need to solve a problems, current issues in school or students or community. And last, self-fulfillment, personal satisfactory feeling of accomplishment. Ano, kailangan mong ma-accomplish yon, kasi pag natapos mo yung research paper mo, you have a self-fulfillment na ang sarap sa feeling ng ibinigay ko ang sacrifices ko. I am now achieving my goal because I am finished to my research paper. So that is the motivation to begin or to finish a research paper. Professional growth, to graduate, to earn a degree, family or parents, to solve problems, current issues as in school, students, or community. Last is self-fulfillment, personal satisfaction, feeling of accomplishment. So that is my part here in our discussion. So if you don't have any questions, if you have a violent reactions, if you are thinking what is the most important thing to do, just don't hesitate to message me, ask me anything about my discussion. So let's call it a day. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you will learn something from our discussion. Again, I am Robert Anthony G. Chavez from Bachelor of Physical Education 2, 3, and I am happy to teach you, and I hope that you learn from our discussion. Let's call it a day, and have a nice day ahead to each and every one of us. Goodbye.
And there you have it. I hope you've learned a lot from our discussion, where you can now give the definition of research, examine research as an integral part of your practice, identify applications of research, give the purpose, characteristics, types, and classification of research, discuss the qualities of good researcher, internalize motivations to begin or to finish research paper, which are valuable and beneficial to us in the present times and up to the future. Once again, I am JV Humarang, together with Robert Anthony de Chavez and Juan Carlos de Villa, who encourage his students' minds to think, hands to create, and hearts to love. In the end, I would like to say that nothing can stop us from learning, nothing can hinder us from dreaming, and nothing can block our way to success. That will be all. Thank you so much. Keep safe and God bless everyone.